not learn the halacha from this Mishnah, because there's a difference between the Mishnah and our case. Yeah, in our case, it is true that the person stole, and he took his fellow student, his fellow colleague for university, his lunch every day, but that doesn't give him the right halachically to go ahead and take the law into his own hand and to poison him and to kill him. Over there, in regards to the case of when Rabbi Shimon says Aliteu larasha v'yamut, this is said in regards for not preventing somebody from doing a sin, right? And therefore, I don't have to put up a sign. I have to put up a sign from preventing somebody to do a sin. I have to put up a big sign. No, aliteu larasha. If you're already going to sin and do a sin, I'm not going to prevent you from doing a sin. Right? And therefore, he is not required to put a sign. But here, it's very different. Here we're saying that we should permit a person should not be liable for causing any harm for another person by trying to poison him. This is not said over here, and therefore this is not a source for our. There's no source from this Mishnah for our case, from this Mishnah to our case, because our case again isn't a case where he's trying to poison this person. Case in the Mishnah, he's only preventing him from doing a sin, and that's why Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that for preventing from doing a sin, he is not obligated to, but nevertheless, he is not allowed to try to poison him. Another source, I know he's asking a question. How can it be that how is it even a question? A person obviously is not allowed to poison another person. But if you know that even those things might seem to us very logically that person is not to, it's definitely not morally right. Nevertheless, as we see through the Gemara, through Chachamim, we're always trying to find a source in the Mishnah, or either a biblical source or a Talmudic source to as a proof and as a source to teach us how one should conduct himself, and not just only based on morally things that are morally right or things that are morally wrong. We're always trying to look for sources in the Torah or sources in the Mishnah, even though when things seem quite obvious. Yes, so second proof that we're trying to bring, we found here, there's Masechet Derech Eretz. Masechet Derech Eretz were usually printed in the back of Masechet Avodah Zarah. They're together with Masechet Smachot and other Masechtot. Perek Hey, it says like this, is a very interesting Maaseh with Rabbi Yeshua, and I quote: מעשה ברבי ישוע, שהשכים אצלו אדם ונטל לו אכילה ושתייה ועלו לגג לשכב ונטל סולם מתחתיו. מה עשה אותו האיש? עמד בחצי הלילה ונטל לכלים וכך קם בטליתו, וכיוון שביקש לירד נפל מן הגג ונשברה מפרקתו. Says a very interesting case. A guest came over to Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua gave him a place to eat, a place to drink, everything. He fed him, he gave him libation, everything. Then he was tired and decided to go to sleep. In the middle of the night, this guest wakes up and wraps up all of the vessels that were upstairs, and I want to forget to mention that he gave him a room up in the attic. And right before so he gave him the place in the attic, he fell asleep. While he went out to the attic, Rabbi Yeshua removed the ladder that was serving to go up and down to the attic. This person got up in the middle of the night, gathered all the vessels that were there, and tried to go down without realizing that there's no ladder, fell down on his face and almost broke his neck and died. That's in the morning. Ishkim Rabbi Yeshua v'ba b'matzo kshu nofel. In the morning, when Rabbi Yeshua woke up and saw him already lying down, almost dead, and he saw him fell, he told him, Reika, kach osim da'adam shekmotcha. Amar lo, Rabbi, lo הייתי יודע שנטלת את הסולם מתחתיי. He told him, so Rabbi Yeshua told him, this is what people like you do. You're conducting yourself like a thief. This is what happens to you. Rabbi Yeshua told him, Rabbi, if I would have known that you took off the ladder, I wouldn't try to come down. So Rabbi Yeshua told him, I know, but he should have checked. And it tells him, didn't you see from the previous evening, we were already suspecting you. You look kind of fishy to us. You weren't like 100%. You didn't look such a nice guy. Leolam kol bnei adam be'enecha. From this, Rabbi Yoshua said, Leolam yu kol bnei adam be'enecha kelistim ve'amech abdam keRabban Gamliel. A person should always be viewed in your eyes as like a thief, but nevertheless you should respect them as Rabban Gamliel. That's a very interesting quote here, but we're not going to get into that. I just want to see, is this a proof for our case? Here Rabbi Yeshua did the same thing. He caused, here it's not like the case, this is already a different case. In the case of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, it wasn't trying to kill him or anything. He was just preventing him from doing a sin. So therefore it's different from my case. But here Rabbi Yeshua really tried to kill this guy, because he knew that this guy was going to try to come down the ladder. He's going to come down, and it's already from the attic. He's going to fall. He might really injure himself, maybe even break his neck and get killed. And that's exactly what almost happened. So similarly, this is a support or a proof for our Mishnah that this student conducted himself properly by trying to punish this thief. But if we look a little bit deeper in the case of Rabbi Yeshua, we again see that there's not 100% a similarity between the two cases, because in the case of Rabbi Yeshua was not trying to kill him. He didn't have intention of specifically killing him. Maybe he even thought that perhaps he would check that there's no ladder, and by checking that there's no ladder, he would realize that he can't come down. And by realizing that he can't come down, he would go back to sleep and forget about the whole ordeal. Just like normal people, before they start coming down, they make sure that there's something they could come down with. Make sure that there's a ladder there. Especially that this personage himself knew that there's a ladder there, and he went up with this ladder to the attic. And therefore, Rabbi, it's not a clear-cut proof for our case. In our case, the student intentionally wanted to poison, knowing what the circumstances and the results would happen by putting poison. There's no two ways about it. In the case of Rabbi Yeshua, that wasn't the intention or the purpose of Rabbi Yeshua, but rather Rabbi Yeshua was hoping that this person would realize that there's nothing there, and he would go back to sleep. Therefore, we find I found something here in the Minchat Shlomo, also Rab Shlomo Zolman Auerbach, and he says like this: שממעשה זה נוכל ללמוד שרשאי אדם לשמור על ממונו. From this occurrence, this whole story of Rabbi Yeshua, we can learn that a person is allowed to safeguard his money or his objects. שנראה שאם אותו גנב לא היה בהול כל כך לבצע גנותו, או לא היה בא לידי חבלה. And so too we see that if this thief was not such in a hurry or such afraid to take all the utensils or steal anything, he wouldn't get hurt. Because he would have seen that the ladder was not there. So from this we learn that a person is not allowed to cause any kind of pain or to hurt the thief himself, if for sure not bringing him to a situation that might risk his life or cause him to die. And therefore we failed to find a proof in the Mishnah so far. Maybe somebody can get back to us and find another proof, but so far we have failed to find a proof that a person is allowed to take somewhat the law into his own hand and punish a thief, causing him any kind of damages or endangering his life. And therefore that student, according to halacha, as what we were able to find, did not behave morally right according to for the Torah way, according to halacha, and therefore any damages that was caused to this thief should be at least paid for compensation, whether it's the doctor, the ambulance, should be paid fully. And to watch next time to where he puts his lunch.